Everywhere we look, we're sold the same lie. The lie that youth is the only state of being worth having, that aging is a decline, a slow and inevitable march towards loss. We see it in the media, in our own fears, in the silence that falls when we mention growing old. We focus on the gray hair, the wrinkles, and the slowing pace, believing they are signs of an ending. But what if everything we've been told about aging is completely wrong? What if those changes aren't signs of an end, but a new, profound beginning? This is not a story about giving up. It's a revelation about gaining a kind of peace that the frantic energy of youth can never truly possess. It's about a tranquility that comes from having weathered life's storms and finally knowing which battles are worth fighting. It's a profound clarity that unlocks the purest forms of happiness. The world teaches us to chase things that fade, money, status, fleeting approval, but the wise have learned what truly endures. They know that the greatest joys are often the simplest ones, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to slow down enough to notice them. They have mastered the art of living with purpose, not just existing. And they hold secrets, 7 of them in fact, that can transform not just the final years of your life, but the very way you live right now. These aren't empty platitudes, they are powerful truths, hard-won through decades of experience and rarely spoken of. They are the keys to a life filled with meaning, connection, and a happiness so deep it can't be shaken. So if you're ready to stop fearing the future and start living with grace and purpose, stay with us, because the happiest years of your life might just be waiting for you to unlock them. Are you ready to discover how? Elias lived a life defined by its quiet, relentless grayness. Every day was a mirror of the last. At 72, he was a widower whose world had shrunk to the 4 walls of his small, immaculate apartment in Berlin. The silence was his constant companion, broken only by the ticking of a grandfather clock that felt like a countdown to nowhere. He spent his afternoons in a worn armchair, the remote control a useless scepter in his hand, as he watched a world he no longer felt a part of. His face, etched with fine lines, carried the weight of 100 silent grievances, a deep-seated loneliness he was too proud to admit. He saw his age not as a stage of wisdom, but as a burden, a slow fade into irrelevance. He would often watch young couples laughing in the street below his window and feel a pang of bitterness, a familiar, heavy ache in his chest. His posture was perpetually stooped, as if carrying the invisible load of his disappointments. His clothes were neat but bland, a reflection of a man who no longer saw the point in standing out. His existence was a masterclass in quiet despair, a testament to the belief that with age comes only loss. Across town, in a small, vibrant cottage overflowing with flowers, lived Clara. At 75, she was a symphony of color and movement. Her hair, a shocking white, was often tied back with a brightly colored scarf, and her eyes sparkled with an irrepressible joy that seemed to defy the years. Unlike Elias, she saw her age not as a burden, but as a release. She was free from the need to please others, to rush, or to conform. Her days were a vibrant tapestry of painting, tending to her lush garden, and hosting friends for afternoon tea. Her home was a lively chaos, filled with books, mismatched teacups, and the gentle scent of lavender. Her laughter was a frequent and infectious sound, echoing through her garden as she pulled weeds with a gusto that would exhaust men half her age. She carried a comfortable plumpness, a testament to a life lived without the stress of constant dieting, and her smile was so genuine it seemed to light up the space around her. People were drawn to her, neighbors, shopkeepers, even strangers, because her presence radiated a profound sense of peace and contentment. She was a living, breathing testament to a beautiful truth. That age is not about waiting for the end, but about embracing every single moment. Elias found himself in a local park, a rare venture outside his usual routine, but even here, the world felt distant. He sat on a bench, a gray coat blending with the gray sky, observing young families and their endless noise with a detached sigh. It was then that a flash of vibrant color caught his eye. Across the lawn, surrounded by a circle of laughing children, was Clara. She was wearing a brilliant crimson scarf, and her laughter carried on the wind, a genuine, uninhibited sound that seemed out of place in his silent world. She wasn't just sitting. She was teaching the children a simple dance, her comfortable frame moving with a graceful, joyful rhythm. The children mimicked her, their faces lit up with pure delight. Elias watched, utterly captivated. He was used to seeing elderly people move with caution, their movements deliberate and slow, but Clara's were full of an infectious freedom. It wasn't her dance itself, but the sheer joy on her face that held his gaze. He expected her to be tired or to scold the children for their clumsy steps, but she only smiled wider, her eyes crinkling at the corners. He felt an old, familiar pang of loneliness, but this time it was different. It was mixed with an unfamiliar curiosity. As she twirled, her eyes met his across the lawn. Instead of looking away, he found himself unable to. A warm, genuine smile spread across her face, not a polite one, but a deep, inviting one that reached her eyes. In that moment, something shifted within Elias. The bitterness he had carried for so long cracked just enough for a tiny seed of hope to take root, and he felt an overwhelming need to understand the source of her light. Secret number 1. The power of acceptance. Clara told him about her husband's passing, not as a tragedy, but as a chapter that closed gracefully. "I didn't fight the sadness," she explained. "I sat with it like an old friend, and eventually it moved on. The past is not a prison, it's a foundation." Secret number 2. The joy of small things. One afternoon, she brought a small, perfectly ripe strawberry. "Look at this," she said. "The texture, the sweetness. It's a miracle. I learned to find a grand adventure in a single bite, a single moment." Secret number 3. The gift of giving. She spoke of volunteering at a local shelter. "It's not about what you give away," she said. "It's about what you gain. The smiles, the thank yous. They fill a part of your soul that nothing else can." Secret number 4. The freedom of forgiveness. Clara shared a story of a long-held family grudge she finally released. "Holding on to anger is like carrying a heavy stone," she told him. "You're the only one who feels its weight. Let it go, and you'll find you can fly." Secret number 5. The importance of movement. One day, she pulled Elias from his chair to do a simple stretch. "This old body has carried me through life," she laughed. "I don't demand it be fast, only that it be grateful. A daily walk is a conversation with yourself and the world." Secret number 6. The art of connection. Clara described her routine of calling one old friend every week, just to say hello. "The greatest wealth isn't in a bank account," she whispered. "It's in the sound of a voice that knows your history." Secret number 7. The courage to be yourself. On their final afternoon, Clara pointed to a brightly painted birdhouse. "I made that," she said proudly. "It's a little clumsy, not perfect, but it's mine." The best part of getting old is that you finally have the right to be unapologetically yourself. Each story was a small stone in the mosaic of a happy life. And as Elias listened, he realized he wasn't just hearing secrets. He was watching a life being lived. The contrast between his past and her present became a beacon, showing him a path he didn't know existed. The transformation was slow, but it was real. Elias started by letting go of his old gray coats and putting on a colorful scarf Clara had gifted him. He began taking walks not to pass time, but to feel the sun on his face and the breeze in his hair. He called an old friend he hadn't spoken to in years, and the sound of their laughter on the phone was the most beautiful music he had heard in a decade. He even found a new purpose in volunteering at the local library, reading to children and sharing the stories he now carried within him. His stooped shoulders straightened, and his face, while still lined with age, was now marked by a gentle, peaceful smile. One sunny afternoon, sitting on the same park bench where he had first seen Clara, he noticed a young man. The man was staring at his phone with a familiar expression of quiet despair. Without a second thought, Elias walked over, sat down, and without a word, offered him a small, perfectly ripe strawberry he had brought from his garden. "Look at this," Elias said with a warm smile. "The texture, the sweetness, it's a miracle." The young man looked up, intrigued, and for a moment the world outside their shared experience simply vanished. The loop was complete. This is the truth about aging. It's a chance to stop chasing and start appreciating. It's a chance to build a life of joy from the simple, timeless truths.